Hardest, most baddest SEALs I ever knew, his name was Matt Leathers. If you don't believe that he ran a marathon every other day and finished it with a bottle of vodka, then how will you ever believe that he actually ran one every night and finished it with a bottle of vodka? He either had a massive dip in his lower lip or his fractured feet in a bucket of ice, or both at the same time. The point that I'm trying to make here is that Matt Leathers was the hardest man alive. Well, one day I made a huge mistake as a brand new guy. We were packing out for a long-range reconnaissance mission in the desert, but I had zero idea how much water to actually take because there's no instruction handbook on this kind of stuff. Not that I would read it anyways, but it's completely up to you to know how much food and water you're gonna need to survive, because each SEAL is completely different. Here's a difficult math problem. Ounces actually equal pounds. So you can't just throw 5 gallons of water in your rucksack and call it good, because by the time you have a full loadout of ammo, radios, etc., you can barely get your rucksack off the ground. So I went up to Matt and asked him how much water to take on this difficult approaching excursion. He looked like Rambo, crouched on the ground, wrapping his knife handle with 550 cord all slow. And he looked up at me with his chiseled and grizzled face with half a can of green grizzly dip in his lower lip. And he said, "Well, I take 3 liters. So I thought, well, that's what I will take then, because I'm one tough, bad dude too. How bad could it be? But 3 liters of water is basically like taking a flask of sand into the desert to sip on. This was a huge mistake I will never forget. They tell you in BUD/S training that it only gets worse in the SEAL teams, and at the time you're thinking there's no possible way this could get any worse than right now. But in the actual teams, there ain't no ambulance to come carry you off the beach after you collapse from dehydration and exhaustion. It's do or die, and the pressure to perform is immense. Every flaw is exposed and brutally examined by a platoon of 12 warfighters. By the end of the mission, my tongue was so swollen I could not form coherent words or even swallow. I've never been that thirsty in my life. I literally thought I was going to die, and it took me several days to fully recover after the mission. What Matt Leathers required to live his life was much more different than what I needed to survive. So stop trying to run someone else's race, because when we try to copy someone else's success, it never works. Learn what works for you and run your own race. Rest in peace, Matt Leathers, and long live the Brotherhood.